Welcome to PsychoMinds, the great ideas of psychology explained clearly and backed by science. For much of history, people believed that the human mind operated entirely on a conscious level. The common assumption was that we fully understood why we think, feel, and behave in certain ways. If something happened in our mind, we were supposedly aware of it. However, this idea began to change in the late 19th century. An Austrian physician introduced a theory that would transform the way we understand the human mind. His name was Sigmund Freud. Freud observed that many human behaviors seemed to have causes that were not fully conscious. People often reacted in unexpected ways, experienced powerful dreams, made slips of the tongue, or displayed emotions they could not easily explain. These observations led Freud to propose a radical idea for his time. The human mind is not entirely conscious. In fact, a large portion of our thoughts, desires, and emotions exists outside of our conscious awareness. Freud called this hidden part of the mind the unconscious. According to this perspective, the mind operates on different levels. There is the conscious mind, which contains the thoughts we are aware of at any given moment. There is also the preconscious mind, where memories can be easily retrieved. And finally, there is the unconscious, where hidden mental processes and repressed experiences are stored. This idea revolutionized psychology because it suggested that we are not fully aware of the forces that influence our behavior. To explain his theory more clearly, Freud used a metaphor that became one of the most famous concepts in psychology: the iceberg. Imagine an iceberg floating in the ocean. Only a small part of it is visible above the water's surface. This visible part represents the conscious mind, the thoughts and perceptions we are aware of. However, the largest portion of the iceberg remains hidden beneath the surface of the water. This unseen part represents the unconscious mind. According to Freud, this deep region of the mind contains extremely important aspects of our psychological life. It includes repressed memories, hidden desires, childhood experiences, and unresolved emotional conflicts. Even though these elements remain outside our conscious awareness, they continue to influence our behavior. For example, a person might feel anxiety or discomfort in certain situations without clearly understanding why. In many cases, these reactions may be connected to past experiences that have been pushed into the unconscious. Freud believed the unconscious is not simply a passive storage of memories. Instead, it is dynamic and constantly active, shaping emotions, decisions, and behaviors. This perspective introduced a deeper way of understanding the complexity of the human mind. Freud believed that the unconscious reveals itself in several ways in our everyday lives. One of the most famous examples is dreams. According to Freud, dreams act as a window into the unconscious mind. During sleep, the barriers of conscious control become weaker, allowing hidden desires and thoughts to emerge in symbolic forms. For this reason, Freud dedicated a large part of his work to the interpretation of dreams. Another manifestation of the unconscious is the phenomenon known as slips of the tongue. Sometimes we say something different from what we intended. Although these mistakes may appear to be simple accidents, Freud suggested they can reveal hidden thoughts or unconscious desires. Emotional reactions can also reflect unconscious influences. For example, a person may react with strong anger, fear, or sadness in situations that seem relatively minor. Freud believed such reactions might be connected to unresolved conflicts or emotional experiences stored in the unconscious. This way of interpreting human behavior added a new level of depth to psychology. Instead of focusing only on visible actions, Freud proposed that we must also consider the hidden mental processes that operate beneath conscious awareness. From these ideas, Freud developed a new method for understanding and treating psychological problems. This approach became known as psychoanalysis. The goal of psychoanalysis is to explore unconscious material and help individuals become aware of their hidden conflicts. To achieve this, Freud introduced several techniques. One of the most famous is free association. In this method, the patient is encouraged to speak freely about any thoughts that come to mind, without censorship or judgment. The idea is that spontaneous speech can gradually reveal unconscious thoughts and emotions. Another important technique involves the interpretation of dreams. Freud believed that dreams contain symbols that can reflect hidden wishes or unresolved psychological conflicts. During therapy, the analyst helps the patient explore these meanings and understand their origins. Freud also emphasized the importance of childhood experiences. According to him, many psychological conflicts originate in early life and continue to influence behavior during adulthood. These ideas open new possibilities for understanding the human mind and emotional life. Freud's ideas were highly influential, but they also sparked significant debate. Some psychologists criticized the lack of strong empirical evidence supporting certain psychoanalytic theories. Others argued that some of Freud's interpretations were too speculative. Despite these criticisms, Freud's contribution to psychology remains enormous. He introduced the groundbreaking idea that much of our mental life occurs outside conscious awareness. Today, research in cognitive psychology and neuroscience confirms that many mental processes indeed operate automatically and unconsciously. Although modern psychology has developed new scientific methods and theories, the concept of the unconscious remains extremely important. Freud's influence extends far beyond psychology. His ideas shaped fields such as philosophy, literature, art, and cultural studies. More than a century later, his theories continue to be studied, debated, and reinterpreted. This lasting impact reflects the importance of one of the most influential figures in the history of psychology, Sigmund Freud. Here at PsychoMinds, psychology is presented in a simple, responsible, and science-based way. Subscribe to PsychoMinds for more insights into psychology.